Don't look under the internet.
Fine.
Yes, sing.
You don't get to call the shot.
Go.
All right, we're all
Sing.
recording now, so that's
Go.
cool. Go.
Go.
Speaking of go,
Sing.
Go.
Power Rangers.
Power
They're
Rangers.
I think
Go.
they're making a new side scroller like beat 'em up game,
Go.
and I'm pretty excited about that.
Like the old Super NES one?
Go.
Teen Titans, go.
Teen Titan Go is funny. I know people don't like it. I think that shit's funny.
I have only watched like maybe 5 minutes of an episode once.
It's pretty good. Really
I
good
was like,
show.
This isn't my Teen Titans.
Not my
Not
Teen
my
Titans.
Teen Titans.
Not my
yeah.
teens. No way.
Yeah. The FBI wants to know your location.
And
More like,
a lot.
More like
It's like
Teen
King
piping.
in the Discord earlier told me to find an autistic 17-year-old.
Ah, jump up,
I don't know what that guy's up to.
We don't want to know.
what?
He's a teacher. It's okay. He works at a high school.
Let him figure out his problems. Hello, everyone. We're going to do that right there. Welcome to Don't Look Under
We're just
the
gonna
Internet.
pretend all that didn't happen.
Exactly. Welcome to Don't Look Under the Internet, a show where we do some stuff.
He wrote notes down.
Do some
Oh,
stuff.
that was good.
Thank you. My name is Mike, and I like to party. That's Doug.
Hello.
Oh, good. We're starting off with that.
Oh yeah.
That's-
You're gonna get a lot of that from me.
And that's Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I have an IQ of 47.
You know, at least you're confident in yourself. Well, welcome to Don't Look Under the Internet, the Internet comedy
Man, the
podcast.
intros are they're just
We're great.
progressively getting
Let's-
New year,
better,
new
huh?
me.
New year, new me. This
Almost.
is new Matt. We're gonna do a little bit of housekeeping to start things off. A little diluty housekeeping. There we go. Boys, you're a bit more better talky than I am. So
Oh.
I'm gonna
Oh.
kind of let you guys explain the housekeeping today. A little
New
bit
year,
better.
new Diluti.
New Ludy.
Okay.
New Diluti. Diluti 5.7.
5.0.
Yeah. Definitely don't know the number, but
Yeah.
new year, new Diluti.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we're
changing
gonna.
shit.
Yeah, we've come to the agreement amongst ourselves that we are kind of stuck in a rut or whatever you want to call it. We're
Burnout.
it's too repetitive for us.
Yeah.
It's not fulfilling where we want to be at right now.
And
It's
now
been,
everybody's like, "Oh no, they're quitting the show." That's not what's happening.
Nope.
we're not
that-
actually.
We thought about it, but we
were-
decided
we
to
were
do
on
this
the
instead.
We were gonna liquidate everything. We already did that with Jason. Notice why he's not here? Gone.
Yeah.
I said we laid him off.
Yep.
It's he's not even collecting benefits anymore.
We
He
were
doesn't
stuck
even
in a
get-
rut, and it was named Jason.
Yeah, he ruined us.
Yeah. The Jason
no,
will be back.
We're going to rebrand. Well, that's
Rebrand.
wrong. We're going to
Look under
we're not
the internet
really
all the
all
time.
right. Cue really tall podcast music.
Really tall podcast.
No, I guess there's no easy way to say this. We're gonna be changing up how everything is working. We're gonna be changing up the Patreon. We're gonna be changing up the fourth wall. They're the same shit. It doesn't matter. I get it. We're gonna be changing up how we record. We're gonna be changing up how often we record.
We're
Four
gonna
of
be changing
those
the
of
type
you-
of episodes that you get.
Yeah, you're gonna be getting new areas of content that we haven't really done before. We're gonna be doing the same stuff, but we're gonna be doing new stuff. We're gonna broaden our horizons. The internet's a very large, vast chasm of
My
disgust.
favorite thing is we're gonna be doing less analog
I
horror.
was just about to say, there's more to the internet than shitty analog horror, and boy howdy, did we just circle around that forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
that's
like
that doesn't mean we're never doing analog horror again, but I think that's kind of really the bottom line here is I think we're all tired of watching bad analog horrors and just reciting them for 2 hours straight.
yeah,
And we're going to do something different.
yeah. So
As
essentially,
much as we like being ground zero for new stuff that comes out, we also really want to talk about a lot of other things that interest us. There's only, as Matt said pretty well, no more analog horror every day.
yeah, there's
Every day.
and so how we're gonna be doing things. First and foremost, there's still gonna be 4 episodes a month. That's not
Yeah.
going anywhere. But
And they will
You'll-
still be mostly about things on the internet.
Yes.
That we find on the internet.
we've decided that we really enjoy what we've been doing recently, where we just don't talk about like analog horror or something like that, but instead we come to the table with little weird things that we found on the internet, or like what today's topic is going to be like. We'll get there soon enough. But we kind of like how this feels, where it's just, I'm coming to the table with something that you guys may not have seen or heard of. It's not mind-blowing, but it's a fun little thing that you can go on the internet right now and check out. Cool. We like these
We're-
kind of
we're-
episodes. So from what we've gathered, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the recording down to, instead of 4 recordings each week, every Tuesday we record, going to condense it down to 2 recordings a month. And in those 2 recordings, we're going to do 2 episodes each. So again,
And then
still
we're going to do 3 in one and 1 in the
Oh
other.
yes, thank you. Sorry, 3 in one and
Yeah.
1 in the other. So you're still getting your 4 episodes. We're just recording multiple episodes in one day, giving us a little bit more freedom to do other things with the rest of the month.
Yeah, and if you don't
Yeah.
watch our live recordings, this probably just doesn't really matter to you. But for people who do watch our live recordings, basically what it means is there's going to be 2 recordings a month, and they're going to be way longer.
Yes.
So
They're gonna be way longer, but they're still kind of technically going to be on Discord. But I think the biggest change, and this is either going to make a lot of people happy or maybe piss a lot
it's
of
going to
people
make
off.
5 people really angry.
We're going to a big plus to being a Patreon or a fourth wall member that at least we figured was that you'd get a live recording in Discord. You're still gonna get that, but I think what's gonna end up happening, and we can edit this out because this just came to me while we're talking, is that we're now gonna be doing it on Twitch. So we're gonna move our platform over to Twitch. We're still going to be in Discord, so those of you who normally come here and watch us can still do that, but it's not going to be a paid thing anymore, I guess, technically, because we'll be on Twitch.
The thing is, though, like, we read the chat in Discord whenever we're recording, so we're still going to do that, but I don't think we're going to be really reading or interacting with the Twitch chat as much.
Yeah, we're basically opening up the live episodes to be public to everybody, not just behind the $10 patron wall. But you patrons that pay the money are still going to send us comments and shit, and we'll be more active with reading those out on the stream. We're also, because we thought about, we thought long and hard on this, because obviously that's taking something away from the people giving us the most money and you guys that have been very loyal to us. We wanted to make sure we're not just taking something away and devaluing what you give us every month. That's not what we want. So, to make up for the fact that the live episode watching is going to be open to the public and not just to you guys, we're going to give $10 patrons a new bonus, an extra bonus episode every month.
There might be more than that. We're
and-
still kind of workshopping things. I just want
And
to
the recordings
that
for the bonus
clear.
episodes will still only be on Discord. We're not going to broadcast the bonus recordings
Yeah.
to Twitch.
Yes, yeah. Twitch, we will not. Yeah, that's a good point to make.
Yeah, Twitch is literally
Um,
just the live episodes of the regular 4 episode a month free content. That is all it is for. But those of you that are
can-
giving us the $10, you are now going to be getting we're bringing Cryptic Corner back. And you guys are going to get Cryptic Corner dedicated to you guys and you guys only, the $10 patrons.
Yeah,
Well,
you
$10
guys will
patrons are all that exist anymore, really.
Yeah. Well, that's not true. But to be fair, $10 Patreons, we're going to try and give you a bit more oomph when it comes to the like what you since we're kind of taking away the big draw to that tier, we're going to try and make it a bit better for you guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see maybe an SCP come through here and there. I wouldn't be on the lookout. We have crazy lives and things have gotten kind of all over for us. We want to give you guys quality content as opposed to like a mass amount of content. So
there was a good moment there where we were literally coming up with the topic the day before, and we are tired of that happening.
Basically
we need
all
more
of these
structure.
changes are to just try to make things more manageable and more consistent in what we put out.
Yeah. Again, you're all going to be getting the same amount of content, same value for what you're giving us. We're just switching up a couple things, and where we're making switches, we're making additions if we feel you were losing something. All in all, this shouldn't affect anybody in any way other than you're not going to be tuning in 4 times a week. You're going to be tuning in twice a week. But again, those episodes are going to be longer, so you're getting the same amount of time out of it too.
You mean a month? But
Month.
Twice a month.
This has gone on way too long.
Yeah.
We're eating way too much episodes.
That's true.
But I
that's
think
fair.
The bottom line really is for most of the people who are listening to this, all that's really changing is just that we're going to be doing for sure 3 episodes a month that are more like broader content and smaller like topics like the ones that we've been doing lately,
and then
like
one
shit we
bigger.
found on Reddit or whatever. And then that one episode a month is going to be a big topic. It may be an ARG, it may be an analog horror, whatever. But that's the other thing is that with trying to not really knowing exactly what we're recording when, we don't feel like we're adequately preparing for those larger topic episodes. And we would actually like to dedicate time to doing better research and stuff like that. And this, I think, is going to help us do that.
Yes.
So that we can do those topics better justice.
Yeah, for those of you listening on Spotify, thank you. And, you might not get as much benefit out of this, but it will draw. If you listen on YouTube, you're going to get a lot more visual aids to some of the things we talk about. It's one of the things that we've talked about that we really want to do for everyone is we want to put more, we want to be able to show what we're talking about. We want to be able to maybe throw up a video, a picture, something that gives you guys an idea of the things we're talking about, because we've done this very heavy video medium over an audio medium for such a long time that I think it's time that we try and maybe up the quality of what we're talking about for you guys. So YouTube will definitely go up as far as the quality of the videos, because we got a lot of complaints about just talking
faces.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
So with that being said, should we just
So
fucking get into
anyway,
it?
go subscribe to us on Twitch, DelutiPod, twitch.tv/DelutiPod.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a Twitch.
Yep. And the last thing I want to mention about all this, and then we're going to get into the topic here, is with all these changes going on, we are going to be going on a slight hiatus so we can get everything prepared. Yeah. We can get everything finally tuned so we have everything ready to go for you when we are ready. We're still going to be putting out some episodes. We're going to be putting out, I don't know what episodes exactly we'll be putting out, more than likely a couple bonuses here and there to fill in gaps if need be, or shit. I know some people liked the little book club thing that I did with my wife a while back ago, a couple times there. People enjoyed those. Me and my wife might sit down and do something like that. So these next couple weeks here, unfortunately, don't expect a whole heck of a lot episode-wise from us, but we are still going to be putting out content while we're getting everything prepared and ready to go. That way, when we're hitting it, we're hitting it good.
Yeah, you'll probably see us recording for the first time, I want to say the second week of January. That's our goal, at least. Things will change. We'll have posts go out. We'll have notifications go out. You will be fully informed when and where we record next and when.
Keep up to date on our social medias, because all the new information is going to be on there. We are going to be very detail oriented on our socials. So no matter what social you follow us on, just keep your eyes on there. It'll let you know all the updates when we got them out for you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, sorry for taking up so much
Yep,
time.
and that
at the
concludes-
beginning of this episode.
That concludes
but,
housekeeping. We didn't even have any new patrons or anything anyway, so fuck all
Yeah,
y'all. Don't
fuck
gotta
'em.
shout anybody out. Anyway,
This one's really fucking with our average. I said that 7-minute average
yeah.
last like a few episodes ago. This has ruined
Yep.
that.
That was my plan. That was my plan. All right, back to the episode though. All right, soldiers, my Deludi army. We are talking something that I am very interested in, and I love the type of movies that come out of this kind of shit, and I love the type of stories that come out of this shit too. So, speaking of the Deludi army, I got my privates here, my two boys. We are going to be
I
talking.
got my privates too.
Oh, God damn, you're so fucking funny, man. We're gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about.
What are we talking
I
about,
stroked
Mike?
out there
God
for a second.
damn.
I'm so sorry. We're gonna be talking
He's
about
like, "I
military.
forgot."
We're gonna be talking about military cover-ups, and also some paranormal military stories. And
We're
things like
covering up
that.
our privates.
Hell yeah.
I'll take a shot
I
for that.
love everything about, like, if you mix like the paranormal with military, I fucking love that shit. Things like that, the movie like Overlord or like Dog Soldiers. I fucking love that
I need
shit.
to watch that one.
It's pretty fun. I love that shit so much. I love a good World War II themed war zone, and then you throw in like a werewolf or something in the mix. It's so entertaining, and I got to thinking we should do some shit like that. I'm sure there's some weird, wacky government cover-ups and like stories out there that a lot of people haven't heard of that maybe we could shine a little bit of light on. So I'm gonna need all of y'all to give me an attention, and give me your
No.
attention. Thank you, Doug. Salute, and to you, brave people in the military listening. Mwah. That's for you.
What was it? And to everyone on both sides.
Yeah. Cheers to the troops, all the troops on both sides. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, who wants to go first with their weird military propaganda stories?
I guess I can start us off on one that might pave the way for other stories. I have a few short stories. I don't have a whole long one, but I have a few short ones.
Hell yeah, I'm here for it.
All right.
What's
So
that feel like? Hey,
I've got
more
my
penis
whole life,
jokes.
man.
New year, new man.
New year, new me.
Full of
New
dick
year,
jokes.
same penis size.
New year, new penis.
I wish. All right. So, the Pentagon Papers. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
It sounds.
The ones that caught on fire when a plane hit the Pentagon,
No.
allegedly.
That's some 9/11 shit that I didn't why didn't I do some 9/11 shit? Anyways. All right. So, the Pentagon Papers.
We're
These-
starting off the new era of Deludio by getting absolutely shadow banned on YouTube is what's about to happen.
So hear me out, y'all. So yeah, the Pentagon Papers. If you haven't heard them, if you were to search the Pentagon Papers online, you can actually read this whole big long ass document. I did not,
Oh, good.
clearly, but I don't got time for that shit. But you can find this whole document online. So basically, this is a set of documents that got leaked by a guy named Daniel Ellsberg, who was basically working with the government to write a bunch of like classified reports about the Vietnam War while it was going on. So he was writing this report for the government and working with the Department of Defense. And basically he was like, kind of typing this shit up, reading this stuff, being told what to like put in these documents. And he was going, what in the actual fuck right now? So I'm going to very TLDR this because if you were to look online about any of this information, you're either going to see a bunch of 2 to 4 minute videos or a bunch of 1 to 5 hour videos. So depending on how much you want to go into this, feel free to go look at all that other stuff. But I'm going to TLDR this one for everyone. So this guy, Daniel, he's working with the government, and he decides that he's going to leak a bunch of these papers to some higher up people in the Senate and like the government, right? And he does this, and he's like, oh, well, hopefully someone's going to speak up and say something. Now, the reason this is important is because they were basically papers detailing why we were in Vietnam. And a lot of it was just because our government wanted to bomb the crap out of Vietnam to essentially control the way that China was going to essentially react towards it. We had never any intention of winning the war. And these papers outline all the reasons and pretty much everything we did that essentially we didn't tell the public about. A lot of things that happened in Vietnam were not discussed publicly to the U.S. citizens. And if you know anything about the Vietnam War, it was fucking horrific. A lot of people have trauma from it. There's a lot of PTSD out there from it. It's just real terrible shit.
Cue that one song every Vietnam movie has in it.
Oh, yeah, the fucking...
It ain't me!
It ain't me! So, long story short, he had sent out these papers to Senate members, and nobody acted on it. So he's like, all right, well, I'm going to send it to the fucking New York Times. I'm going to send it to a bunch of news outlets. So he sends these leaked documents out to these news outlets, and they end up publishing them. They end up starting to write a bunch of articles about it. So Nixon, who...
tricky dick. I knew he'd get involved somehow.
So
Nixon, like in every single thing that I read for this episode, Nixon's name appears at least once.
Oh, I mean, he's
every
a huge,
single one.
He's a huge turd. He's a big turd. Like, everything about this is why Watergate was like, he just got fucked. You know what I'm saying? So, like, basically, Nixon finds out that this Daniel guy leaked these papers to the press, to Senate members, and all this shit, and he freaks the fuck out. And he's like doing pretty much everything in his power to stop these papers from like being fully published. So eventually Nixon takes Daniel to court, and you know, I'm sure Nixon's thinking, oh well, I'm the fucking man.
I'm the president. You can't take
I'm
me
gonna
to
shut
court.
this shit. I'm gonna shut this shit down. But that's not what happens at all. The courts actually side with the press because it was essentially the press versus Nixon. And to be fair, it took a fucking long time for this whole document to actually be released. It didn't get released until 2011, which is, if you know, quite a long time.
It's like 60
from
years
when the
later.
Vietnam War happened. So yeah, you can
do
fully read it
math.
today. If you can math, which I cannot, but if you can, you'll know that that's a long time. So, yeah, basically it was really kind of fucked up because, this whole situation, the Pentagon Papers and everything, you find out a lot of fucked up shit, about like the Vietnam War. Again, I'm not going to go into all that because I think we all know that the Vietnam War was fucked regardless of if it was classified or not.
They put poop on the spears.
Okay. But this specific thing,
I was thinking like Agent Orange and carpet bombing and shit, and but Mike's just like
Poop.
the spears.
he's concerned about the shit spears.
You get the diseases from that, man.
Well, yeah.
Gangrene, dude. You don't fuck around with gangrene.
So the reason I thought this was a good one to start with is because this actually paved the way for how the public is now able to view classified info, and how the government, I mean, still probably covers up a lot of fucking shit, but it gave the press and it gave the public a better idea of like how leaking classified information can actually benefit you, because the press, I guess, technically has a duty to report the truth, right? Like they are the source of truth.
Not anymore. Got him.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. I watched a bunch of shit on this actually. I went a lot deeper than I wanted to. I just didn't want to spend like fucking 20 minutes talking about this, but I thought that was pretty interesting.
Doug's just in his room watching Vietnam War documentaries and shit.
I got the fucking like the red strings going across the room and fucking shit. I'm just like,
all
what the
pointing to a
fuck?
picture of Nixon and Roger Stone.
Hell yeah. But no, that's really it. It's a pretty wild little story, and that's the first one I found. But I'll save my other ones for after you guys.
Dude,
yeah, bro.
that rips, brother.
I'll talk about mine.
Okay.
Speaking of poop spears. So, like,
Oh, shit.
as I was trying to find things for this episode, an insane amount of this shit that I was finding had something to do with public health. And, like, the deeper and deeper I went down these holes, I was like, I came out the other side at one point almost like, man, maybe JFK Jr.'s onto something. And I was like, this is not a good place for me to be. Hold on. I need to grab back onto reality here for a second. But something that is actually a real thing that I didn't know a whole lot about, that I kind of knew existed but didn't know some of the details on, was the U.S. biological weapons program. So from 1943 to 1975, the United States had a biological weapons program. So it started during World War II, and it lasted until the 70s, and they kind of stopped it because of the Geneva Convention. But they did a bunch of testing, and they also stockpiled a bunch of biological weapons that were essentially just weapons that they could use to spread disease and bacteria and viruses and shit super quickly. Like, they had a gigantic arsenal of anthrax and botulism and shit. There's a whole lot of different things that you can go into that this weapons program did. There's a long and storied history here, but one thing that stood out to me as something that is particularly scary is something called there were several of these, and I'll get into that here in a second, but the first one that I ended up on was something called Operation Sea Spray. And so Operation Sea Spray was
I got down
something
this
that the
rabbit hole.
Navy... Yeah, this goes forever, and it's fucking crazy. So this was an operation that the Navy did in 1950 as part of the biological weapons program, where they literally took ships and then rocked up to the San Francisco Bay, and they spread bacteria all over San Francisco intentionally without telling anyone. They didn't tell the powers that be in San Francisco. They didn't tell healthcare workers in San Francisco. They didn't tell fucking anybody. And they didn't tell fucking anybody until 1977, but we'll get into that here in a second.
Wasn't their excuse? They're like, but it was harmless bacteria.
Yeah, so that's
Well, yeah.
exactly where I'm going.
Oh, gotcha.
So they spread two types of bacteria all over the population. The first one was Serratia marcescens, and this is a bacteria that's actually responsible for a ton of like UTIs and infections that people get in the hospital from like surgeries and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, well, this is pretty harmless. And so they spread it all over the fucking San Francisco Bay. And so 11 people turned up the week after they did this, and they were like, and they had UTIs. And the military sort of attributed this to the fact that like all 11 of these people had surgeries recently, and so they're like, well, it was probably the surgeries, and all these people got infected in the hospital, and it's just a coincidence. But there was also a large spike in pneumonia cases in San Francisco. Somebody actually sued the government over this because they claimed that someone that they were related to actually died as a result of this. So in 1981, they sued the government saying that Edward J. Nevin was actually killed by this bacteria because he died like in a matter of weeks after this test took place, and the cause for his death was a strain of this bacteria. And the courts dismissed it, and they were like, well, there's actually no proof that the bacteria that came off of these ships is the bacteria that killed this guy. But there are some damning quotes in here that even if the bacteria wasn't responsible for killing this guy, don't put you at ease at all. Because one of the doctors that they quote in the defense is Dr. John J. Farmer, who was a researcher from the Centers of Disease Control. And he testified for the government and told the court that there was less than 1 in 100 chance that the bacteria from the ship was the bacteria that killed this guy. If you're spreading bacteria over a population of hundreds of thousands to millions of people, 1 in 100 chance.
Not that bad.
Not that bad.
Pretty good odds.
That doesn't sound good at all.
In the 80s, that sounded
that's
good.
I don't think so. I think they knew how to do probability in the 80s. And I can't believe that this was the testimony that the defense had, and they were like, oh, yeah, you're probably right.
This reminds me, I don't know if you're going to go into this as well, but the Chicago incidents as well. Do you bring those up at all?
Maybe.
Okay.
It depends on if that falls under one of the things I'm also about to go into. So, they're basically their determination here was that the government maintained that it believed at the time that the bacteria was harmless, but it has since been established that the bacteria can be harmful to a small group of people whose natural immunities are compromised by sickness. So that happened. The reason that we actually know about this at all, though, was because it came up in a court case in 1977. And during this court case, a whole bunch of other shit like this was also disclosed. And so some of the things that were revealed in 1977, and you can go to like the Wikipedia article for the Ocean Sea Spray, or the Operation Sea Spray incident, and look at these. But some of the other things that they did were between 49 and 1969, basically open air tests of biological agents like this one were conducted 239 different times. And in 80 of those experiments, the Army said that it used live bacteria that its research at the time thought were harmless. And in others, it just used inert chemicals to simulate bacteria. So this kind of happened a fucking lot. One in particular was in the 50s, Army researchers dispersed zinc cadmium sulfide, which is now known to cause cancer, over Minnesota and other Midwestern states just to see how far it would spread in the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And particles were detected all the way in New York from Minnesota. In New York in 1966, they spread a different type of bacteria that was also believed to be harmless in the subway system by dropping light bulbs that were filled with bacteria onto the tracks in Manhattan. And the bacteria from those light bulbs was carried for miles throughout the subway system.
That was mine. That wasn't Chicago. It was New York, yeah.
And in May of 1965, they released bacteria in Washington's National Airport and the Greyhound lines at the bus terminal there. And more than 130 passengers were exposed to the bacteria, and it traveled to 39 different cities in 7 states in the 2 weeks following the attack. So if you were alive at any point between 1950 and like 1966, there's a good chance that you came in contact with something that the government just dumped into the air, and they were like, this is probably fine.
Oh, you forgot one. In 2020, they did the same thing, and then we all got fucking sick.
Oh, yeah.
Got it, dude.
Bad joke. Great. Moving on.
Yeah.
If you were alive
Geneva
from
Convention, my ass.
if you're alive, between 1950 and 1976 or whatever, you might be entitled to
compensation. No. According to the government, you're not entitled to shit because you can't fucking prove it. They'd established that in 1981.
Fair.
I forget which one. I was reading something and I can't remember what it was, but there was a similar thing that happened where these like women sued the government because of something that had happened, and basically the government was like, well, these are classified, like we can't bring these to court, like we can't tell you what we did in court, so like we can't testify properly. And the court's like, we can't do that, so like you guys get nothing.
Was that with the ladies that got radiated?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but basically they had to wait until the papers became declassified, and then sure as shit, the declassified papers had nothing in it that was like really that classified, and basically totally said, hey, the government fucked up and you probably should have been compensated for what happened. The only reason I bring this up is because the person who was bringing it up was like, yeah, like I work for the government, and no one ever said like, basically if you declassify something, it kind of is what it is. So like nobody ever got fired for classifying a document, you know what I'm saying? Which I think is kind of fucked up, but here we are.
The government. You can't trust the government. Boy, you guys went a completely different route with this than I did.
That's okay. I didn't feel like I was doing the right thing when I looked this up, but I thought it was interesting.
No,
I wanted
that's
to stick
fine.
with
I'm
this.
into it.
Also same though, because when I was looking shit up, I'm like, what do I talk about? But
So
Also, you should probably still get vaccinated. I'm just gonna say that
yeah, please.
because I also came across there's like an outbreak of whooping cough in Tennessee because people aren't vaccinating their kids. Vaccines work, okay?
Oh,
You may
there's
not
a-
trust the government, but
there's
even know
there's
they
a big
had-
let's not reintroduce polio to the population.
there's a big outbreak of RSV around here too.
Yeah.
So that's fun. That's poor babies. Anyway,
you have one of those.
I do. I guess I'll talk about mine.
Nah.
And you're gonna see why I think I went a different direction than you guys. So, in 2016, the year of our Lord and Savior, PewDiePie. I don't know, something was happening in 2016 with him, I'm sure.
2016 PewDiePie was peak PewDiePie.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
when did he get canceled?
Probably 2017.
That was the first time he really. No, that was like the first time he got in trouble.
Oh,
And
shit.
He only got in trouble because people on Tumblr don't understand internet humor. But
But also, didn't he
That's a
like say
story
the
for a
N word
different
or something?
that was after. That was a little way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk
That,
about that.
no, that wasn't. 2016.
That was
PewDiePie.
2016.
That was 2018.
New
I
year,
think that might
bad
have been 2017
PewDiePie.
PewDiePie.
Anyway, in 2016,
We don't talk about the bridge.
yeah.
Incident.
Yeah.
in 2016, a story was developed about a group of soldiers in 2002 in Kandahar, Afghanistan. So there's a few theories on where this story first initially took place. First and foremost, there's a YouTube channel out there that claims to have interviewed a soldier who was in this task force. And I'll get to the story of the task force in a second. But they claim to be the original, and they interviewed this task force guy. Another one, and Doug just walked away, so he's not going to hear this, and this is his own damn fault. But the other claim to be the first person to unveil this is our boy Art Bell himself, coast to coast.
Artis Bellis.
Artis Bellis. Now, the issue I found with that one, they keep referencing Art Bell as being the first. A lot of the articles I found did, but I cannot for the life of me find any proof that Art Bell even talked about the Kandahar Giants. So, I'm going with the other guy being the first one to unveil it. And his name is
John Cena.
L.A. Marzulli. Apparently, he is the guy that interviewed a man known as Mr. D, who claims to have been present during
Mr. D's
Mr.
nuts.
D during this situation. So, here's the story. Back in 2002, there was a troop of American soldiers who went basically radio silent on one of their patrols. They never reported in with command to see what they're doing, where they were. They just went radio silent. A couple days pass, and they have heard no one has heard anything from this troop, right? So we send out a special task force to find this group of soldiers. This task force went to where that platoon was supposed to be, and they kind of followed a trail that they found going up a mountainside. As they kept going up that mountainside, they found broken equipment like radios and like fabric from like uniforms, things like that. They're like, shit, we're on the case. With this being 2002 Afghanistan, they weren't taking any, they were taking all precautions. So they're like, hey, let's do this. We found evidence of our guys being here. Looks like they were attacked or something, as there's a bunch of damaged equipment here. So let's just prepare for a potential attack on us. With them being on a mountain, they couldn't really see too far up above them. They didn't know what was going on. So for all they know, they're walking into some sort of trap or bamboozlement. So they keep making their way up the mountain, basically inch by inch, just to cover their tracks, make sure that they're going to be okay. They make their way up to the mountain, and they make their way up to a certain point of it. And once they get to this point, they find basically a cave in this mountain, big old cave. And they're like, oh, this is a big cave. It's huge. It looks like it goes on forever. Let's kind of, be cautious of that. As they approach the cave, they notice more and more damaged equipment. They even find bones that resemble human bones. So they're like, I think this is our guys. Something's going on here. So they inspect the cave a little bit further. Upon inspecting this cave, they notice something moving in it. They can't really see what it is at first. And they are like, oh, shit, there's something in the cave. We got to, all eyes on that thing that's in the cave. So as they're taking position and they're trying to scope out and identify what's in this cave, a giant-ass spear just comes flying and impales the only member who has a name in this story. Everyone else is unidentified, but his name is apparently Dan. And Dan here gets impaled by this spear. It's a giant
poop spear.
It might be a poop spear, but it's a giant spear with a metal tip.
How have
It
we
all
gotten
comes back
onto
around.
poop spears? All okay, yeah, all right.
When you find a fetish, you stick to it, my guy. What can I tell you? So he goes down, right?
You don't find the fetish finds you.
Exactly. So this guy goes down, right? Spear in him, he's done. Kaput. Dead. This giant, they claim to be anywhere between 12 to 15 foot giant humanoid creature comes fucking booking it out of this cave system towards the soldier that he just killed. Private Dan.
Private
Dan. This giant pulls out the spear from Dan, and he has spear, and he's attacking the other soldiers. This giant is said to have gray skin, and long red bushy hair. Think like a fucking Hagrid, but skinnier and red hair instead of black hair, and his skin's all gray. So the soldiers, they had heavy fire weapons. I forget what weapons specifically they said they had, but they weren't going into this with like light shit. They had
BFGs.
they had BFGs. They had like armor piercing rounds and heavy machine guns, shit like that. They just fucking unloaded on this giant. And in the interview, the task force guy who went unnamed, Mr. D, he said that they shot at this thing nonstop with their heavy artillery for 30 seconds straight. And it took 30 seconds of constant firing to bring this fucking thing down. Once they brought it down, they called in. They were like, hey, command, we got a giant. Like, don't know what to tell y'all. You ever seen Attack on Titan? Boom, here you go. And they call it in, and a helicarrier basically meets up with them and picks them up and the body of this thing. So they discover a few things when they're on the helicarrier with this giant's body. They discovered that it has 2 sets of teeth, and it has 6 toes and I believe 6 fingers as well. So it's got an extra digit. More the merrier. This thing also had what looked like rudimentary clothing. Like it had like animal furs all over it and everything. And it had basically like these primitive like moccasins essentially that it wore.
It had the Reeboks with the straps.
The Reeboks with the straps. It was wearing a pair of Yeezys. Guess they just abandoned that line. So one of the other things they noted is that this thing, it stank like a corpse. They kept saying that, like it smelled like death. Probably because it was dead already. But they said that while they're in that cave system as well.
Like, wow, this dead thing smells like death.
Yeah, they're like, while they're they said they remember that smell from when they're investigating the cave as well. They said that the smell coming from the cave smelled like death as well.
I'm now imagining that this is just like a guy running around in like a shaved dead bear.
Yeah.
The thing for me that like gets me with like Sasquatches and giants and stuff like this. I don't know if you guys watch Trailer Park Boys, but it always reminds me of when they find like Sam in the like woods, just like being stinky. Do you guys either of you
Nope.
watch that show?
No.
Nope.
So this is hitting none of you right now,
Yep.
but
I know a lot of the memes from it.
if you watch Trailer Park Boys, you'll understand. They find this guy Sam in the woods, and they think it's a Sasquatch, but he's just really like overly hairy and stinky, and like that's
Cool, man.
cool, great.
That's awesome
Yeah.
for you.
I'm
That's
just gonna
awesome.
go down
Yeah,
there
good
and
stuff.
just ruin everything that they're doing.
Yeah. Anyway, so they land and in an undisclosed area where more government officials come in. They take away the body of the giant, and they force everyone in the task force, I believe it was 8 people, to essentially sign NDAs saying that you will never be able to talk about this, and we're gonna make damn sure of it. Even to the point where they fabricated how Private Dan died. You can find paperwork.
Was he a lieutenant or?
Lieutenant Dan. You can find paperwork on a private named Dan who did die in 2002.
But there was no giant Lieutenant.
in the
Dan.
Kandahar area, but he died of like explosion,
Leukemia.
like damage from like explosives.
He got
he
blowed
got
up.
blowed up. Yeah. So
I screwed up.
it's theorized that the government covered this up so that the public would not discover these giants. Now, a lot of people claim that these giants are real because they are referenced in the Bible as the Nephilim, however you say it.
You know what Nephilim are?
Nephilim. So the Nephilim in the Bible, there's a couple different interpretations. I'm just ignoring you completely.
Yeah, I was probably gonna get myself into trouble. So let's just move on.
Okay. So
Well, do you know what a Nephilim is though? Like actually, like asking, like
yeah, I'm getting into it right now.
okay,
He's about to explain
Yeah.
it.
So
I don't know if he is.
there's a couple theories on what the Nephilim are in the Bible. One
okay,
is
alright.
that it is
He wasn't
kinda
kidding.
Nephilim.
yeah. One is that it's angels who have made whoopee with humans, and the Nephilim is the product of that, the baby. So basically,
Hybrid.
half angel, half human. Others say
Where
that they
where my
are
supernatural fans at right
Is it
now?
like a homunculus?
kind of. Others say that they
No.
are
No,
angels
Not at
that
all.
you're wrong.
they say that they're angels that have fallen to earth. Others say that they are the offspring of angels and devils. So there's a couple different interpretations depending on what area or what region in and what religion you are that would have.
Where
based
did the
this.
Shinigami come into this?
I believe
Can we skip to that part?
that would be better. Now,
So technically, devils are just angels. They're just fallen. So it's the same shit. Just if we're gonna go real deep into it, and go off the supernatural lore.
yeah, because supernatural known to be entirely historically accurate.
Basically, the Bible, bro.
Yeah. So all of this does sound a little crazy and a little over the top, but like you guys have mentioned in some of your stories as well, the government is not they're not against the idea of hiding things from the public and making it extremely hard for shit to get out. Now, there is some issues that people have had with the I guess the realism in this and if this is true or not. A lot of people claim this is fake for a few reasons. First and foremost, the first person to conduct the interview with that mystery Mr. D person who was in the encounter, his name is L.A. Marzoli, and he is a filmmaker who makes films and art about basically mashing biblical figures into the real world. So he has a history of like taking like a fucking Noah's Ark and putting it to the tune of like the Titanic or something. So it is not out of the realm possibility that this is one of his stories, since these giants are biblical figures, and he's putting him into a real world situation like the war that was going on back then. Other people claim that there is some realism to this because the Kandahar giant isn't the only giant sighting in A, Afghanistan, or B, just around the world in general. So there's actually quite a few that go on in the country of Afghanistan. First and foremost, there's the Kandahar giant that I've referenced. There's a giant of Kunar. There is the giants on the feed. There's another one called Giant of a Man, the Giant of Orizgan, and there's a couple others that don't have much going on, but these are all stories apparently given by anonymous U.S. military personnel who have come forward saying, I can't legally tell you this information, so I want to stay anonymous, but I'm going to give you this information anyway. And they all...
Have you, when you were researching, did you hear about the New York Giants?
Funny man, you. God, I'm happy you're in Florida. But all of these are very similar situations where a group of soldiers come across a giant, whether they attack it or don't. That varies on the story. One of them is this guy was using like thermal vision just to scope out an area, and he was in like a valley full of like some trees. These trees were like 12 feet tall, and he sees this heat signature just rise up above the trees, and it's just a single figure, and it like dashes away fast enough to where he loses it on the thermal. But the fact that there are numerous stories about these giants in the Middle East, a lot of people are claiming that there is some truth to this, even if you don't think the Kandahar giant is real. There might be some truth to giants living out in that area.
On an actual for real note, I don't remember. I didn't do any research, obviously, prior to this about giants, but there was a TikToker, I think it was, maybe a YouTuber, I'm not sure, who had video of a giant, I believe. I don't know if you saw this, but
Nope.
They had video of a giant, and the video is, I mean, kind of exactly what you'd expect. They like zoom in from really fucking far away, and they're like, "Oh, that thing on the mountain is like too tall to just be a person."
Oh, I have seen that.
And then the person disappeared like
Yeah.
almost immediately after uploading it.
Couldn't it just be a bear?
They claim
I
it's
mean-
a Bigfoot.
I don't fucking know. I wasn't there.
I wasn't the guy looking
I
at
don't
there.
fucking care.
But that's the Kandahar giant story. That's my story, and
Crazy.
crazy.
Damn,
Uh,
dude.
Now, Doug,
That's sick.
you mentioned you have other things you want to show us, right?
Yeah, I have one that's kind of similar to the last one I did, but then I have a really short one, and it's my favorite one, which I'll save for the end.
Ooh.
Do you guys have other ones, or is it just me?
No.
No, I have nothing.
I mean,
Okay,
we're close
all
to
right.
an hour anyhow. So
Okay,
let's
cool.
just do-
I'll go over this one. So this one, as opposed to my other one, this one is called Project Sunshine. I don't know if you guys saw anything about this. This was kind of weird. I'm gonna say trigger warning.
Yeah,
just
there's a
ahead of-
Mario game about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say trigger warning now. Child, not greatness things happening. I'm not actually sure what trigger warning I need to be giving right
Childhood
now.
trauma.
But yeah. No, just traumatic things happening to children. That's probably better.
Isn't that okay? Continue.
Childhood
different.
trauma. No, trauma that's happening to children.
You'll understand. All right, so Project
You idiot.
Project Sunshine. Project Sunshine was a series of research studies that began in 1953 to discover the impact that radioactive fallout had on the world's population. So the
Uh-oh.
project was initially kept secret and only became publicly known 3 years later in 1956. So it was commissioned by the U.S. State Atomic Energy Commission and the USAF Project RAND. Sunshine basically was to examine long-term effects of nuclear radiation on the biosphere due to repeated nuclear detonations that the U.S. was doing and other places were doing, and they kind of just needed to know.
There was
Hey,
a time when they were just like blowing shit up.
well, that's the whole thing. Like we were kind of being a little loosey goosey with when we were detonating atomic bombs and shit, and I
Yeah.
don't think we realized how not great that is for the Earth.
Yeah, that shit
just
spreads.
in general. So Basically, Sunshine sought to measure the global dispersion of SR90 by measuring its concentration in the tissues and bones of the dead. Or, particularly of interest was the tissue of the young, whose developing bones had the highest, like, propensity to accumulate SR90 inside of them, thus being the highest susceptible, like, basically having the highest rate of being able to, like, take in
You're
the
saying
radiation
nuclear
damage.
fallout sticks to kids.
Yeah, kid. If you're a kid and you want to go wee, but
I mean,
you ain't
everything
done
sticks
drugs
to
yet.
kids. Have you seen a child? They're sticky as
Yeah,
fuck.
they're gross. I
They
know.
are-
I have one.
Yeah.
So gross.
She's
I have
sticky all the
heard
time. I don't know what
so
you're
many
doing.
times. Mike is constantly like covered in shit, is what I'm imagining.
My pants are pretty stained up.
Mike is a poop spear.
Mike gave birth to a poop spear. All right, so
A poop spear or sphere?
Your choice. I don't even care at this point. So Sunshine had a great deal of controversy around it. Basically, it was revealed that many of the remains that were sampled were utilized without permission from the relatives of the dead, which wasn't known until many years later, obviously. So on January 18th, 1955, Commissioner Dr. Willard Libby said that there was insufficient data regarding the effects of fallout due to a lack of human samples, especially samples taken from children, to analyze. So he was quoted saying, "I don't know how to get them, but I do say that it is a matter of prime importance to get them, particularly in the young age group. So human samples are often the prime importance, and if anybody knows how to do a good job of body snatching, they will really be serving their country." This is an actual quote from an actual man who was tasked to research how fallout affects people. Okay, so he said, snatch up them bodies, y'all, and give them to America because it's
We need
good
you
to
to
do.
What did you say about body slamming?
body snatching.
Snatching.
Body snatching. Oh.
We need you to
I thought-
research.
I need you to find your nearest child, and you're gonna give them a body slam.
Body slam.
You're gonna take them
Yes.
and you're going to fucking full Nelson them
RKO.
right into the fucking ground.
Yeah. Now I'm on board.
Okay, cool. So this ended up leading over to after this quote, okay, after this was said to the public, over 1,500 samples were gathered. All right, only which of 500 were actually sampled and analyzed. So many of these 1,500 cadavers were babies or young children taken from Australia and Europe without their parents' consent or knowledge. Okay? They just straight up were like, yoink, give me your baby. Sorry, give me your dead baby. Let's just
You don't
this is why
need
I
it
said trigger
anymore.
warning.
Yeah.
This is why I said trigger warning in the beginning, all right? So they were taking dead babies and they were using them for testing, essentially, right?
So they were just taking dead kids and just irradiating them?
Yeah, they were like,
Okay.
think of Nuketown. They were just like, just full of babies, right? Anyways, so
Right.
according,
Isn't there going to be like some impact that like a functioning circulatory system has on all this? I don't know.
I don't
I
think
question their methods.
I don't think they care. They were just like, put some
This is
fucking
an
meat.
excuse to just blow some kids.
Someone was being someone just really hated kids and wanted any excuse.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was Mr. fucking Dr. Willard Libby just hated kids. So according
I
to
get it. but-
an investigation launched by the British newspaper, they reported that the British scientists had obtained children's bodies from various hospitals and then shipped their bodies to the United States. A British mother is quoted as saying that her stillborn baby's legs were removed by British doctors, and basically to prevent her from finding out what had happened, they were just like, yeah, you can't really have a funeral or dress your baby for a funeral.
Jesus.
Like, I know I don't know the procedure of what having a stillborn is, to be fair. And if you have a funeral for that happening, or if you dress them up,
Yeah, that happens.
to be
Some people
quite
do.
honest with you. But yeah, no, Australia was like, yo, legs are mine. Um,
Oh my god.
sorry. So yeah,
Can I have those back?
Australia, Europe,
No.
America, all kind of assholes, man. I mean, they'll do anything to learn
yeah.
some knowledge, right?
I wonder what they even learned from it. Where they're just like, turns out,
That's what I'm saying.
Guess what? It's
like,
bad.
guys, I found out radiation's bad.
that's what I'm trying to figure out here is like what are they trying? What are you accomplishing with irradiating dead people? Like you're not gonna find out how long it stays in the body because it's not functioning. Like it's not cleaning shit out. So what are you learning? How long radiation stays in a dead body? I guess.
You know what's funny? Out of all the things I watched about this, I didn't get any answers to that question. I don't think I learned a single thing about what actually happens.
What they were actually trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Just hate kids.
But that's all I got. That's Project Sunshine. Why is that such a hard word to say?
They even gave it-
Sunshine.
I hate that they gave it like kind of a fun name. You know what I mean?
They're like, Project
You are my
Project Sunshine.
sunshine, my only sunshine.
We'll kill your baby.
And take its
That's what we
legs.
do.
And then we'll nuke them. And
We'll
then
We'll cook them up good.
that's pretty much
Yeah, that's it.
I
That's
guess.
all you got. Wow. Wow.
Thanks everyone for
Do you have
coming
any-
out tonight.
do you have
no,
any more,
no,
Doug?
I have one more. I have
Hell
one more. This was my favorite story, and it's the shortest story.
Oh,
all right?
I thought the nuking babies was your
Yeah.
favorite story.
No, that's fucked up, man.
Do you have? Is this a little lighter? Like, are we
Yes,
gonna
this
end on
is
a good note?
Actually, I'm not sure. It depends on how you
Shit.
feel.
Okay.
All right, so this is about so this is the CIA. All right, we're moving over to the CIA.
Nice.
They spent $20 million trying to make cat spies.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So basically, what the CIA did is they took a bunch of cats and they gave them all surgery to
Oh.
implant radios in their
And then they made them
ears.
radioactive.
No.
And then they took
So they
their
put
legs.
they put these radios in their ears, right?
Aw.
And then they release them into Russia in specific spots because they're like, no one's gonna
So they
suspect
did
a
Kill
make
cat.
John
radioactive.
Lennon.
They're like, we don't care. Like they're like they tested this out in Russia, and they're like, all right, we're gonna release these cats into Russia, and
This is literally the birds spying on people, but it's cats.
But the funniest thing is that so they spent all this money giving the cats surgery and sending them into Russia, and then immediately lost half of them
All of them.
because
they're
either
cats.
they got distracted or got hit by a car.
Oh.
So that's sad, but basically they were the most useless spies ever, and the cats that they did take back, they were just like, all right, we're just gonna remove these fucking things. And there's one cat specifically that apparently went, spied, did a good job, came home, got the shit removed, and then lived a long happy life.
Got the
But they were
purple
like, wow,
heart.
this was a fucking stupid ass idea.
All right,
And
Agent
they
Agent
never
Sprinkles.
used cats again.
Agent
I
Sprinkles, I
thought that
need
was-
you to get documents, okay? Quit licking your asshole. Agent Sprinkles, you're compromised.
Yeah. It's just recordings of.
They're like, meow, meow. Licking my balls now. But yeah, that's all I got on that one. I just thought that was funny because it was short and stupid, and I was like, that's pretty fun.
How's our new secret agent doing? Well, Captain, if I'm being honest, he's been sleeping on a windowsill for 16 hours. He hasn't moved. God damn, he's so good.
What else has he done? Well, he licked his ass for
Hiding in plain
2
sight.
hours.
It's brilliant.
Agent Sprinkles, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? There's a
Well, that
can
was
of
actually-
meow mix waiting for you.
To
when you
be
get
fair,
back.
that was actually one of the things that they were worried about. They're like, how do we feed them?
That's the other surgery. You surgically implant a rat into the tummy, and there you go.
Yep, nailed it.
That's the one. All right. Well, on that note,
It's just it's digesting the rat at a perfect homeostasis between the rate that it's digesting the rat and the rate that the rat is healing itself. So it's just like,
Oh shit! So it's an alive rat.
but what's the rat eating? Yeah.
the rat eats the cat. It's like a symbiotic.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But the cat is
Did we
healing
just-
at the rate
wait.
that the rat is eating it.
Yeah.
Did we just
It's
figure
just the
out
same
unlimited
matter.
energy?
Yeah, it's the same matter just being passed. It's pooped back and forth forever, basically.
Wow.
We can
More
we
poop.
can
We got there. We
we
figured
can
it out.
power entire
Wreck it.
cities, entire civilizations on cat rat eating itself
Mhm.
technology.
Anyway, be on the lookout for our new Twitch. Go there. Twitch.tv/DelutiPod or whatever it was. I forgot. Do that.
Someone
Check-
followed us. I got a notification
Hey,
earlier.
Check out all of our socials because you're going to get updates on those. And just be on the lookout for new Ludi. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be very, very beneficial for everybody, and I think you're all going to enjoy it. So I'm going to leave you on this note because you might not hear too much from me until Crimbo or the new year. But
Jamboree.
yeah, happy holidays and Merry Chrysler, happy Honda days, and have a pleasant Toyota-thon if you celebrate that.
It's Grandma.
Yeah, Merry Chrysler.
Hey, Kramer.
Doug, what do you got to say? The people would do.
I just want to thank people for sticking with us, even though we have been just the worst lately with getting out our content and doing the things we say we're gonna do. Thank you for sticking with us. Honestly, it's awesome. You guys are great. You're the reason why we're trying to make changes to be better. So look forward to 2025. I think it'll be a good year for Deluti. New Ludi, new duty. Or whatever they say.
Yeah, Muthalamule, Jay Simpson. What do you got to say?
Let me explain to you the type of anxiety I have. I have spent the better part of this episode trying to remember if I said JFK Jr. or RFK.
You said
Jr.
JFK.
earlier.
I just
RFK.
didn't care to
Yeah.
say anything.
Well, I know it's RFK, but I feel like I said
You said
JFK.
JFK. I just didn't
Yeah.
think it mattered.
I'll
to-
let
And
you
that's
know
just
when
ba-
I'm editing,
that
'cause I
basically
thought you
just
said
sums up
RFK.
that basically just sums up every social interaction I have,
just
where I
swank.
just spend the rest of my night just thinking about what I may or may not have said wrong. But I don't know, whatever. It's suplex a radioactive child.
And if we
Wow.
haven't said it in a while, fuck Corbin, Kentucky. This is the year that Tootsie Rolls were made. Slap your beans against your beans. Stay paranoid because Jason was fired.
We'll bring him back as an unpaid intern. Don't worry. All right, bye
Yeah,
everybody. Have a blessed day.
Yep.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Wow. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Don't look under the internet.